What's going on, Sooner Nation? Today we got to talk about SEC Media Days and the 5 storylines that you have to be paying attention to if you're an Oklahoma fan, because this is one of the things that we have been looking forward to ever since the announcement that Oklahoma was going to the SEC. Well, it's here, and this means we are one step closer to the football season. Before we discuss it, though, before we jump into it, I need to hear from y'all, so join the discussion. Jump in the comments below. Give me your thoughts. What are some headlines that you think can come out of SEC Media Days? What do you want to hear, whether it's from the Sooners or an Oklahoma fan looking at another team? So for SEC Media Days, Oklahoma, this is big. You're finally here. And if you're an Oklahoma fan or a football fan in general, you're just a couple months away from the football season. So SEC Media Days are going to go from Monday to Thursday, with Oklahoma having their day on Tuesday, July 16th, in a bracket with Georgia, Tennessee, and Missouri. So I don't know what we're going to get with shots being thrown at Drinkowitz and back, or maybe even Brent Venables poking the bear and Kirby Smart. It's going to be interesting to see exactly how Josh Heupel answers questions about coming to Oklahoma for the first time since he's been fired as Oklahoma's offensive coordinator. But there are 5 storylines that I think you could potentially see out of SEC Media Days, and these are something that I think need to be talked about, whether you're an Oklahoma fan, because I think they could drastically shape not only your season that you're currently in now, but also your future in the SEC as well. So the first one's going to be coaching stability. How many coaches are going to get fired, and who gets fired by the end of the season? This has got to be a talk around SEC Media Days, because Shane Beamer, Sam Pitman, and Billy Napier are all on the hot seat. Shane Beamer out of South Carolina. The question is he still the head coach of South Carolina when Oklahoma plays them at home this season? In his first season there at SC, 7-6, had a really good year, I think, for SC standards, at 8-5 the following year, and then 5-7 this past season. But for some reason, it feels like the temperament of SC fans has not been great, and Shane Beamer appears to be on that seat, and it keeps getting hot. Sam Pittman over at Arkansas, he's had this funky run there. He had a 9-4 season, followed up with the 7-6 year, and then this whole offseason, you heard that Sam Pittman might get fired, and now he's 4-8 this past season. It's a very weird thing down there at Arkansas. It's a very weird deal. And then Billy Napier at University of Florida. Listen, UF fans, they expect winning at a high level. If you don't give it to them, and you don't give it to them fast, this is kind of the result. Now, quite frankly, this is what I think a lot of people thought Brent Venables was going to be in, but Brent Venables turned the tides pretty quickly after a 6-7 season, which was Billy Napier's first year, and then last year at 5-7. So how many coaches get fired this year? Who gets fired? Those are going to be some big topic questions. But for all of the SEC, this is probably going to be one of the biggest notes that we hit on all week long. Oklahoma and Texas. What are their odds to hit their over-under win totals? What is the odds for either one to win the conference? Probably not just in their first year, but in the first 5 years, right? You got 2 new members, one of them being a blue blood, the other one being on the outskirt looking in. How does that affect your conference and affect some of these middle-of-the-road teams, or maybe even some top-tier teams? Texas is back, right? That's what everybody's telling us. Texas is back. Can they build on the success from last season? I think a lot of people are going to ask Steve Sarkisian and those guys that question. It's like, if Texas is back, you guys went to the playoffs. Like, what are you guys going to do? You guys have high expectations going into this year. You guys lost a ton on defense. You lost a lot on offense. Like, are you guys going to be able to replicate that success? That's going to be a question that is in Texas's face, and how they answer that question this season is going to be very intriguing. But if you're Oklahoma, the question that's going to be tailored towards them is, are you going to be able to handle the SEC? And I think, Oklahoma's getting this question because you haven't played an SEC team since Brent Venables has got here, and Texas has beat Bama in Tuscaloosa. So if you're Brent Venables and Oklahoma, this is the question that's being tailored towards you, and you've got to be feeling a little bit of disrespect there, because us as Oklahoma fans, we all know what Oklahoma is made of. We all know what Oklahoma could do. We're not asking this question. We're asking if the SEC is ready for Oklahoma. Now, the third question or the third storyline that I think we're going to get out of SEC Media Days is, will Alabama be able to continue this run of success that Saban had under Kellen or under Kalen DeBoer? I think a lot of people expected the recruiting to take a dive a little bit. We're not seeing recruiting take a dive. It seems like recruiting is continuing to go on the up and up for Bama. Additionally, though, we have not seen what it's going to look like on the field. What's Jalen Milroe going to look like under Kalen DeBoer's offense? He did a really good job with Michael Penix. Is he going to be able to do something similar with Jalen Milroe? And then 4, 8 or 9 game conference schedules. This is one that impacts Oklahoma and Texas in the future. And this is one that I think if you're an Oklahoma fan, you're 100% watching, because we've heard the rumors about, well, maybe this Michigan game gets canceled. Right now, there's only 3 games on the schedule for next year for Oklahoma that are out of conference. So if Oklahoma canceled the Michigan game, they would have to go schedule another cupcake. And that's not something that Joe Castiglione likes to do. This is a key game. This is a headliner game for both the Big Ten and the SEC. And with all the other games dropping like flies, I would imagine there's going to be some willingness to want to be able to keep this game if you're Oklahoma or either one of the 2 conferences. But an 8 or 9 game conference schedule, if we hear anything about this, that's going to be something that intrigues me. But lastly, we got to talk about conference expansion. This is going to be something I feel like we hear about this week. With the news that the Big 12 is looking at some of the ACC schools, with the SEC want to take some of these big brands, aka Clemson, Miami, or Florida State, or would the SEC want to expand their reach in basketball and bring in like Duke or NC State or North Carolina, schools like that? This is going to be something that I'm watching. It's intriguing to me exactly how conference expansion is going to work, because the ACC just took in Cal, Stanford, SMU, and it's like, okay, so you took in those teams, but your conference isn't very stable. And if you lose some of your big brands like Clemson and Florida State, those additions I don't really feel like move the needle for the SEC to continue to keep them as a Power 4 conference. So those are probably the top 5 things that I'm looking for out of SEC Media Days, looking to see if we hear anything. Obviously, you're going to hear some funny things come out of SEC. Someone's going to take a shot at somebody, and we're all here for it. You got Billy Bowman, Danny Stutzman, Jackson Arnold, and I can't remember if there's another player or not, along with Brent Venables going to SEC Media Days. So Danny Stutzman's going to give us some quotes. But Sooner Nation, I need to hear from y'all. So make sure you guys join the discussion. Jump down in the comments below. Give me your guys' thoughts. And if you guys have not already, make sure you guys hit that like and you hit that subscribe button.